What's up, everybody? Brett Okamoto from ESPN in Las Vegas, gearing up for UFC 252. Obviously, the main event trilogy fight between Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic. Trilogy heavyweight title fight. Everybody's saying it's the biggest heavyweight title of all time. But before we get to the fight, we got to snag a little bit of time with UFC boss Dana White. Dana, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Probably not as good as you. I heard that you just got back from vacation. Huh?
I did.
Where were you last week?
It was awesome. I went to Punta Mia, Mexico.
Okay.
It was incredible.
You're kind of a Mexico guy, huh?
Yeah, well, Mexico's the place right now, especially, yeah. But I do love Cabo, and Mexico's the spot right now if you're American.
Are you, what kind of vacationer are you? Like to go out and like explore some stuff, or are you like sitting on the beach with a
I'm not a big
seltzer?
explorer, yeah. I like, the pool, the beach. We went out in the ocean one day in a boat and did some stuff. It was a great vacation. Couldn't have been better, to be honest with you.
And then you come back to this, the heavyweight title fight that everybody's talking about. And you guys just did the press conference with Cormier and Stipe. And, obviously media, they're paying attention. They're going to have some takeaways. What was your takeaway? Standing up there listening to those two guys, what were you thinking?
I loved it. I was just telling our head of PR that I love that press conference. You don't need all the hype and all the stuff. You know what this fight's going to be. You know how this fight's going to play out. I love the respect. I love how calm. I love how both guys did, well, more Cormier than Stipe, didn't mind laying out, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm not going to do, being brutally honest with how he's going to fight this fight on Saturday night. So I thought it was cool. It was fascinating to listen to both of them.
Yeah, when you were talking about how you and Rogan were geeking out beforehand. What was Rogan saying about this fight? What's he think?
Yeah, Rogan and I were on the phone for like an hour and 15 minutes. That's why I was late for the press conference, because I was on the phone with Rogan for so long. But yeah, we were just talking about, Rogan's big thing was how honored he feels. Like in this time of no fans, that he's one of a handful of people that actually get to sit in this almost empty room and watch the two best heavyweights of all time fight, right in front of him. It's just, we both love the fights so much that we, and I said, I feel the same way. I feel so honored that I get to be here and watch this thing play out on Saturday night. So, and obviously, talking about the fight and more fights that we have coming up.
Yeah, I think myself and the production crew from ESPN feel the same way, that we get to be in the building for this thing as well. All week when Daniel is asked about is this his last fight, and he's repeatedly saying in the promos and everything else, the interviews, this is it, this is my last walk. What is going through Dana White's mind when DC's saying that?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's obviously going to depend on how the fight plays out on Saturday night. If Cormier wins in spectacular fashion, this will not be his last fight. And knowing him the way that I do, if he loses, then it will be, I can't go out like this. So, you know me, when people start talking about retiring, I think they should. Stipe, who people were saying is probably going to retire after this too, but he squashed that tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of them should retire. They're two of the best in the world, and they still got a lot left in them. But we'll see. We'll see how the fight goes on Saturday.
Well, it's interesting. I asked Javier Mendez, what was it like going through camp with DC, and did you get the impression that this was his last camp? And he said no. He said it didn't really feel like his last camp. And he said, after DC wins, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know how this game works. Uncle Dana is going to back up a truckload of money, and they're going to try and make a Jon Jones fight. Is that the plan? If DC wins and he's the heavyweight champ?
There is no plan.
Yeah.
There's no plan. I'm going to watch the fight on Saturday. I'm going to see who wins. And then on Tuesday, there'll be a matchmaking meeting, and we'll go in and start talking about what's next.
Yep. Everybody who's in the UFC usually pretty confident, right? Pretty confident in their skills. But I love those fights when two guys go in and they are just so supremely confident that they're going to win. That, to me, is the co-main event. Sean O'Malley, it believes he's on this path to stardom. He believes he could be the champ right now. And Marlon Vera this week, just watching him and talking to him, he's just got that look like he knows something that everybody else doesn't. That fight, to me, just seems like both guys are walking in there just positive that they're going to win.
This card is so good. When you look at the top three fights, you got the heavyweight championship of the world for the trilogy fight to determine who is the greatest heavyweight of all time. You got O'Malley versus Chito Vera, right? And the rising star, the tough, gritty, vet, who is really the toughest test of his career for Saturday night. Then you got JDS versus Rosenstruik, and two heavyweights who can finish the fight with one punch. Then I did If You Don't Know, Now You Know. It goes up here in a little while. It's probably the best If You Don't Know, Now You Know that I've ever done because of how good these two fights are for that thing. This card is an awesome card. Jim Miller is the main event on ESPN, the network, on the prelims. Just, it's a great card.
OMalley, told me that once he gets by Cheeto, and obviously I think that that's a serious fight. He needs to make sure he gets by Cheeto. But his words to me were, once I win that fight, the fans are going to demand I fight a top 5 guy. Like, they're not going to settle for anything less. They're going to want to see me, how I do against a top 5 guy. You agree with him? Or do you think that would be pushing him a little too quick?
No, I think that this sport is all about opportunity, and this is a huge opportunity for Cheeto Vera, a guy who's been, working hard, grinding it out, trying to build himself and whatever, and now he's getting the chance against OMalley. 5.5 million people watched OMalley's fight on the Contender, right? And look at what he's done since then. Cheeto Vera has the opportunity to steal all of that from him on Saturday night.
One guy that OMalley had his eyes on a little bit was Cody Garbrandt, but we all know that's not going to happen anymore. He's fighting for the flyweight championship, Davis and Figueiredo, in November. He obviously hadn't fought in flyweight before, was going down from bantamweight. Why did you decide that he was the right guy for Figueiredo's first title defense?
Well, he wanted to. He wanted to move down. He wanted to move down in weight, and he wanted to take that opportunity, and we loved it. So we did it. It'll be a fun fight.
And then what about bantamweight? I asked you the last time we spoke, maybe a week ago, I said, who is the bantamweight #1 title contender? You said you knew, but you wouldn't tell me who it was. Now we're a week later. Can you tell me who the #1 contender is at bantamweight?
Well, if I could tell you, we would have announced it already. Actually, you probably would have announced it already if we knew. So
you got an idea, but it's not done yet.
Right.
Okay.
So man, we don't announce anything until it's done. Done.
Another thing I asked you about a week ago was Max. Where does Max Holloway go after losing to Volkanovski? A lot of people, yourself included, thought he won that fight. And you expressed interest in a third fight, and you admitted that Volkanovski, maybe he wouldn't want to do that from a competitive standpoint, just fighting the same guy 3 times. Have you had conversations with Volkanovski? Is there any update there?
Nothing yet, no.
You still feel like that's the fight to make, though, if it's up to you? Well, I mean, it is up to you, but you still feel like that's sort of the right thing to do?
Listen, it's up to me, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's fair and what's right, too. If you're Volkanovski can say, I don't care what anybody thinks. The 3 guys that sit around the octagon are the guys that matter and make the decisions, and I won both fights, and you have to respect that. He's our champion, and we'll see what he wants to do next, and we'll figure out something for Max. Maybe he says, you know what, let me put this Max Holloway thing behind me. Let's do it again, and if I beat him a 3rd time, I don't want to hear it again.
Where do you think Zabit fits into this now? The word was that he was going to fight Yair on August 29th, and then Yair was injured. What's you going to try and make that fight, put that fight again together with Zabit and Yair?
Yeah, we'll get Zabit a fight, yeah.
Okay.
We'll figure that out.
All right. Lightweight, we know what's going on there, obviously. Justin Gaethje fighting Khabib in October. Tony Ferguson said that he was in Vegas looking for a fight. Have you spoken to Tony? I thought that was interesting that he was here in Vegas.
Ferguson?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking to Ferguson.
You got an idea, something in mind for him?
Yeah, we do.
You don't want to share it just yet?
It's not done. When it's done, we'll let you guys know.
Okay.
This is like the Kevin Iole interview I did yesterday. We talked for 45 minutes about possible fights that aren't made or aren't happening yet.
This is what we do. I ask you about fights that aren't made, and you tell me that you don't know, and we see who cracks first. Yeah. Another one of your favorite topics, Conor McGregor, and I know he's retired. You said he's retired, but you said something in another interview that I had to follow up on. You told Robbie from Barstool, you said, Conor McGregor is retired. I know that nobody really believes that, but he is. And your reasoning for it was like, listen, contractually, I have to offer these guys 3 fights a year. Trust me, Conor McGregor is retired. So me watching that at home, I said, Dana White's offered Conor McGregor 3 fights.
No, I don't. I have to offer him 3 fights a year now. He's
because
retired.
He retired.
Right. What I was saying is, if he wasn't retired, I'd have to be calling this guy every couple months offering him fights. I haven't done that because he's retired. Literally haven't called him at all and offered him any fights. And the conversations that he and I have had are about family and what's going on and things like that, not about fighting.
You get asked about Jon Jones a lot. I don't know if you've spoken to him or if there's any update with his situation. But that division, there was a title fight in February. Is it still kind of on hold, or do you feel like at some point you gotta make
It's
some
not
type
on hold.
of decision?
Yeah, we're making moves on that too, and we're working on it.
Okay, so
Yep.
we will see another.
We're actually waiting to hear back from Jon Jones right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will see another 205-pound title fight before the end of the year.
Yes.
In other words. Yeah. Okay. That's it for me, man. I mean, the last thing that I would ask you is, NFL's starting up pretty soon. I know that you're a big NFL fan, and you have pulled this off very well, with the bubble and here in Vegas.
Thank you.
Would you give any advice to the NFL? I mean, after kind of seeing what MLB has done and college football is, all over the place, what advice would you give to the NFL to make sure the season goes off?
I would say, listen, everybody has seen our protocol. They know what we're doing. You cannot pull this off without a bubble. You have to be inside the bubble. Mm-hmm. So if they really want this to work, they have to figure out how to get everybody in a bubble, keep them there. Can't be sneaking people in. Can't be letting people leave and come back. You have to do the bubble.
Yeah, and no Tom Brady in
just
Las Vegas.
Multiple testing too.
Yeah.
No Tom Brady what?
Well, I was going to say no Tom Brady in Las Vegas, unfortunately. Your efforts must have fallen up short. But
yeah, they did.
You been making a trip to Tampa to see him play this year?
If they allow fans in, yes.
Yeah.
I will definitely go to Tampa to watch him play.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate the time, man. We're really looking forward to the fight, UFC 252. Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic to find out who was the best heavyweight in the history of mixed martial arts. Man, thank you for the time.
Thank you.